Zahariel hears a whisper. It makes him pause in his work. He rises and he listens. It is only the wind soaring through the mountain's deep amplifier vaults, but for a moment it sounded like someone saying his name. Nothing. A distraction. The hollowness of the place soaks up sound and spits it back out at different angles. He looks around at Carthius, Tandarion, and Azrael, but they are in adjoining chambers, hard at work. Already, in mere hours, the four of them have reconstructed part of the sacred mountain psionic lattice, reweaving the etheric flames where they were burned out and torn by demonic excess. But it is hard toil, painstaking, and it quickly exhausts the mind. He knows why. The mountain has forever been a place of acute sensitivity, and now, as Chagonia's power saturates the whole world, it is worn away raw. As he composes and configures the talismanic engrams, one misstep, one lapse in mental defense could split his soul open. It makes him feel vulnerable and weak, and neither feeling suits him. It is like feeding a feral beast through the bars of a cage, knowing that the beast would rather feast upon him than the meat he proffers. He has guarded himself. He has marked his armor with hexagrammatic wards and taught his three brothers to do the same. The shamans of old did not come here to mark figures on the walls. Sympathetic magic was not about composing an image of some desired future. It was about making the future present. They knew the rock was just a membrane, not solid at all, but a veil on which the etheric world was projected. The images of hunters and hunted were just tracings of things on the other side. Zahariel had learned this from the ghosts of the shamans that drift around him in the darkness. He tries to stay alert and focus. There is still too much to be done, and just days before the enemy arrives. At the very darkest recess of his mind is a thought he doesn't want to acknowledge, that he will not share with anyone, not Carthius, or Tandarion, or Azrael, not even with himself. He is susceptible. A part of him wants to submit and allow the warp in, not just the warp, but those who move through it, those who have themselves submitted, and he catches his breath. Cunning, he says, to nothing. Oh, that's cunning. It nearly had him. He nearly let down his guard. Something is trying to reach at him, to prise into his head. Something that can sense him. Something that is using the resonance of the mountain to show him some kind of sign. He has set his sword down while he works, but he goes to it, lifts it, and draws it. He thinks it's still there, watching him. He is sure he knows who it is. The old enemy. Zahariel El-Zurias served as a librarian of the Archangel's Legion during the Great Crusade and Horus Heresy. Born upon the death world of Caliban prior to its inclusion into the fold of the Imperium, at the age of 7, Zahariel ventured to the fortress monastery of Aldoruk, seeking recruitment into the Knightly Order. Led by Sar Luther and Lionel Johnson as they purged the world of its infestation of chaos-imbibed great beasts, Zahariel's cousin, Nemiel, would join him as a supplicant of the Order as they began the trials to ascend as a true knight of Caliban. 2 years of toil, rewarded with their promotion by Master Remiel, the Lord Cypher, Sar Luther, and the Lion. For several years, Zahariel aided the Order's glorious rise to power as the undisputed most powerful organization of their creed. A routine training patrol, turning sour as his first hunt of a winged great beast came close to ending the life of Zahariel. His mentor figure, Brother Amadis, though slaying the beast, regaled his kindred of his students' bravery, facing among the deadliest predators of Caliban's forests. Every man of the Order, now knowing the name Zahariel El-Zurias, during his beast quest to achieve promotion as a knight of his creed. A year subsequent, this future champion vowed to hunt the beast of Endriago, which had slain his hero, Brother Amadis. Encountering the mysterious Watchers in the dark during his venture to the Northwilds, warning Zahariel of the forest's corruption. Within its heart, the bane of humanity dwelled, which could not be defeated, nor denied. Warning Zahariel that the beast was not the true threat which lurked within the heart of the forest. No human could destroy such an evil in the secret of Cabal's eyes, for its providence was the bane of mankind entire. Vowing to the Watchers that he would defeat such an evil all the same, though not knowing of its true nature as the Pantheon of Chaos, Zahariel's oath would be tested in the years to follow, under the glare of such Watchers. Carrying Amadis's rotary-barreled pistol into battle as he felled the great Calibanite lion which had sundered more than 200 townsfolk of its namesake. Though wounded by this apex beast, Zahariel's latent psychic powers would manifest. Using his sudden ability of Terrasight to anticipate the great beast's actions, Zahariel faced his own arm into the creature's flesh, firing his master's pistol directly into its heart. Dragging the Calibanite lion's severed head back to Alderuk, mirroring the glories earned by Lionel Johnson, having bested the same beast during his own trial. Now as a Knight of the Order, Zahariel earned camaraderie with his Primarch, having shared a feat of arms. Now among only 2 to have slain a Calibanite lion, at his Primarch's order, one of the beast's fangs was forged into a sword, which Zahariel would carry hereafter, the Lion Sword proving a capable companion in the wars to come. Joining the Order in their war against the Knights of Lupus, ending their capture and taming of the great beast for their own fell ambitions. 6 months following his creed's total dominion of Caliban, the Master of Mankind would descend upon his homeworld. Witnessing the Lion swear fealty to the Emperor and begin his command of the First Legion of Astartes as its general, Caliban swiftly underwent technological innovations as Knights of the Order began their induction into the fold of the Space Marines. A naturally talented psyker studied by the ministrations of brother librarian Israfel. During the attempted assassination of the Emperor by betrayers within the Order's inner circle, Zahariel thwarted the schemes of the rebels within their midst. Gaining the notice of the Master of Mankind for his efforts in quelling such a rebellion and his talent as a psyker. With all records of such a betrayal suppressed, the Emperor likewise occluded such occurrences from Zahariel's memories, including their own meeting of minds. Both Zahariel and Nemiel succeeding in their trials to become Dark Angels. With his physical transformation, his mind also swelled, allowing him the ability to draw on otherworldly reserves of stamina. Assigned to the 22nd chapter with his ascension as a librarian of the Legion, as the 4th Expeditionary Fleet arrived in orbit of the world of Sarosh, the Dark Angels resumed compliance measures conducted by Shang Khan of the White Scars Legion. The populace, intentionally resistant to all efforts to bring their world into the fold of the Imperium via diplomatic means, little would the Dark Angels realize that their worship of the Melakim was in reality made to the Pantheon of Chaos. The delegation of Sarosh's Lord High Exalter planting an explosive device within the Lion's Gloriana-class flagship, the Invincible Reason. As such heretics denounced the Emperor, Sar Luther and Zahariel investigated their docked vessel within the embarkation deck. Luther finding upon the device, ordering Zahariel's dismissal. As the librarian's instincts gnawed at his judgment, Zahariel discovered the object within the shuttle's secret compartment. Confused as to why Luther had obscured such a finding, realizing the first captain's intention to secure the Legion for himself with the Lion's death. Though Luther's moment of weakness would pass, the two's attempts to jettison the device proved too late to avoid damage. The nuclear warhead's detonation, though not fatal, leaving scars upon much of the Lion's vaunted flagship. As Sarosh burned, Zahariel joined the Lion's forces upon the surface, aiding in his banishment of the Melakim, combining his psychic abilities with that of Israfel. Luther seconded to Caliban to oversee recruitment efforts to reinforce the First Legion. Zahariel joined his conspirators' punishment alongside hundreds of warriors, who likewise would forfeit the glorious final battles of the Great Crusade. Consumed with shame, as their Primarch's commands marked such warriors as unworthy of his Legion's honor, for 50 years, the Knights of Luther festered their resentments upon Caliban, training hundreds who would know nothing of the Lion's pedigree. Sar Luther, nurturing betrayal in his heart as thousands of new recruits swore loyalty to his name. Zahariel, as among his most loyal lieutenants, investigated acts of rebellion which broke out across Caliban. The great beasts once again resurgent in their predation of the populace, further compounding Luther's efforts to seize power. A cabal of Terran Chaos cultists summoned undead hordes, and even Chaos spawned to harry the settlements of Caliban. Hearing word of War Master Horus Lupercal's mutiny, Luther refused to declare for either side of the conflict, retaining Caliban's independence, yet bristling with Zahariel's advisements to forge an alliance whilst mayhem erupted beyond their borders. Studying the source of warp corruption within the heart of Caliban itself, Zahariel slowly began to see Luther's way of thinking as the Calibanite angels purged the cultists from their fiefdom, issuing the Edicts of Nicaea in the process. The fallen angels had now begun their first steps as renegades of the Imperium, the then Lord Cypher stationed on Caliban, attempting to slay Zahariel by collapsing a tunnel around him during his expedition into the source of Caliban's chaos corruption. Zahariel's powers blocked by the sentient warp device, the Ouroboros, to which the Watchers disdained. Once released from its grip, the librarian exhibited characteristics far removed from his former demeanor. Believing the Ouroboros to be the true spirit of Caliban, freed from the constraints of mankind's strictures. With word reaching Zahariel of the death of Nemiel by the hand of the Lion, his bitterness towards his Primarch swelled. leading the purge of the returned Loyalist Dark Angels legionaries of Chapter Master Belioth, now empowered by the Ouroboros. Zahariel confronted the Lord Cypher, recognizing his true identity before slaying him with the aid of Librarian Vasago, claiming the title of Lord Cypher for himself. Unable to stand by as the throne world burned, should Horus succeed in his campaign, Elzarias knew that Caliban would not be spared his wrath. Against Sarlufa's advisements, Zahariel ventured with all haste to reinforce Lord Commander Corswain during his men's battle against the Death Guard Legion, coordinating their forces to reclaim the dormant Astronomicon from traitor hands during the battle for the Hollow Mountain. Librarian Vasago, though saving Corswain from the demon entity Vasukela, he would be slain by Zahariel's men. Mortally wounded by First Captain Callus Typhon during the Death Guard counterattack, though Zahariel's life would seemingly be ended, Sarlufa would recall hazy memories of the Lord Cypher returning to Caliban, fighting Corswain for the soul of their legion. The victor in such an engagement unknown, as the Lion incurred a devastating wound from the warp-corrupted Luther. As the Watchers in the Dark spirited the Primarch's body from harm, Caliban's form fragmented. Every fallen angel scattered through time and space by the warp storm, which ravaged Caliban's carcass. All trace of Zahariel had been lost to time, with some speculating him to have been felled by the Hound of Caliban's blade. The ceremonial title of Cypher, now carried by a mysterious figure which prowls the galaxy to this day. Whether this enigmatic angel is Zahariel remains speculation, as war ravages the Imperium entire.